Welcome to the Daily Review. This is Razak, Senior Trading Strategist here at CMTrading. And today is March 19, 2024, and today is Tuesday morning. So looking at the highlights of the day, we're watching JP Morgan show us again why it's the strongest stock on the board. And yet again, it makes new record highs. But first, look at today's major economic events. So at 2:30 South African time, out of Canada, we have a core price index CPI number coming out. Now looking at the various markets, starting out with the Forex symbols, the US dollar advances while the Turkish Lira almost made a fake out for us and showed that it was going to make a correction, but in fact, it made new record lows. Now looking at the indices, both the Dow Jones and the NASDAQ slightly higher. And as we look at commodities, gold remains pretty much unchanged. And as we look at oil, pushing higher. Now looking at the stocks, they were really mixed. There's a list of strong stocks and a list of weak stocks. And that's just the way it is right now. And lastly, looking at cryptocurrencies, Bitcoin slightly lower. So let's take a look at markets and see what we can expect from today's trading. So here we go. First with the Australian dollar. It is selling off here as it did have a major number this morning, a rate decision. So it's at 65,181, getting close to its support-ish level, 65,100-ish level. So keep this in mind. This may pop up and we may see it correct itself. Now jumping into the Japanese yen, the dollar advancing here as the Japanese yen gets weaker also. Okay, I'm not going to jump into euro and the GBP. Haven't been trading so much. However, let's take a look at that Turkish Lira. Okay, sure enough, it made new lows after it corrected itself. Remember, this was that correctional move at 31.88 and then made new lows and gapped up and then gapped up again. And now we're at 32.29, which is about 50 pips or 40 pips higher and lower for the Turkish Lira. Okay, so that has actually come full circle. Now looking at gold. Now this is the thing. Gold had a big spike, record highs, and then tapered lower. And now it's tapering lower, and it's just tapering. It's not I wouldn't call this a downwards momentum. I wouldn't call it a downwards trend, although it is a slight of a trend. It does look like it's making a wedge formation, so keep that in mind as this may break out in either direction, okay? So just keep your options open here as you're looking at this. Now looking at crude oil, pushing higher to $82. We're just dipping below $82 right now before the market opens, but still relatively very strong. Now looking at the Dow Jones, also we popped and we had a little bit of a bounce yesterday, and so did the NASDAQ. However, it's stock specific. Let's take a look. JP Morgan, all-time record highs as it broke 192.65, excuse me, and that is a bona fide just breakout. There's no end in sight for this, okay? So just keep it in mind, because ultimately, what's the top? Okay, I don't know, you don't know, and I don't like to short the top because you know, it's like catching a falling knife the opposite direction. So just can't fight the trend, okay? This is a strong stock, right? In the intro, I kind of said there's strong stocks and weak stocks. This is one that's strong. Now, if you want to see a weak stock, let's take a look at it. AMD has been kind of weak, okay? Hasn't been fully weak, but it has been trading lower. I mean, if we look at, what was it? Apple was trading lower. Okay, that was actually selling off yesterday. So Apple is a weaker stock. Okay, that's where I would put that. Facebook, I would say somewhere in the middle. Okay, it hasn't really sold off, hasn't really broken out. Okay, and it's just trading in a range for now. Looking at Microsoft doing the same thing as it is trading within its highs and lows. Okay, and just trading in a range right now. Okay, it may break out of it, but just keep that in mind for right now. Tesla showed us some life. Okay, it was on its low at 161, but did bounce off of it, as we can see here, as that slightly look at that. Okay, and now alternatively, okay, just keep this in mind. This was a support area. 161 was a support area, so it did jump off of it. So it's an important area to jump off of. Let's see if it sustains it. Okay, is it going to correct itself on the upside, or is this just a dead cat pounce? And then we'll see it selling lower. So this is something in the middle right there. Okay, now looking at Google, we had a gap up, a decent gap up, but we couldn't sustain it, and we sold off. Now, it's not that much off of its highs, 155, we're at 148. So keep this in mind. This may still surprise us and go on the upside, okay? Generally speaking, not generally speaking, but many times we fill the gap when we do this gap up, okay? So, but it hasn't really sold off. So I'm kind of suspicious about this also. The markets a little bit, I would say, are right now trying to figure themselves out as the market is really digesting what's been going on in the markets. Now looking at lastly at Bitcoin, 64,000. Now we sold off another 4 grand yesterday. Okay, now like I said, this thing trades in big swings. So just trade responsibly. Now we do have supportish level at 63-ish thousand. So I do expect a bounce off of it. Right now on a daily, you can see we're bouncing off of it. Let's take a look. Yeah, we're bouncing off of it, but it's got to show us. It's got to clear it, okay, for us to really kind of say, okay, it's now made somewhat of a short-term bottom for now for us to bounce and possibly get into a range-bound trading like we were seeing with Facebook and Microsoft and those guys, okay? So keep that in mind as we go into today's trading. This is Razak. I want to wish you guys a great trading day. Thank you.